gon' make it. We gon' make it. It's about time I blow and if I don't do my numbers, dog, I still got my aces. Hey y'all, happy Friday. We gon' make it, we gon' make it, we gon' make it, we gon' make it. It's about time I blow and if I don't do my numbers. Hey you guys, that's my theme song for today. We gonna make it. We gonna make it. Hey everybody, hi, come on in. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna kick my shoes off and get comfortable. Let me move this out of the shot. You guys can see my phone. I am live with you guys on Instagram as well as YouTube. This is my first time going live on YouTube, so we're going to see how this goes. But hello to all of my Instagram folks. Hello to my YouTubers. All right, so we have a lot to talk about tonight. Let me go ahead and put this slide up on the screen so y'all can see what the agenda is. Let's go ahead and say yes to that. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. Let me see. Can you guys see our agenda for tonight? It's a lot. Can y'all see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see our agenda for tonight on Instagram. And for those of you who are on YouTube live, we are talking about all the things that casting directors and agencies have shared throughout the week. It has been a long week. Oh my goodness. And I know lots of you have been joining in on some of the free seminars and the sessions and things like that have been happening. But we are talking about just all of that knowledge that they've been dropping, and I'll add my own expertise on top of it. And the title for tonight is What Now? And some of the questions that I posed when putting this out to you all was, what now? What do we do now that auditions have slowed down or stopped? What do we do now that agencies are closed, right? What do we do now that we are homeschooling our kids and our schedules have completely changed as we know it, right? What do we do now to prepare for the future when all of this ends and the industry starts to get back to normal, or the new normal, because it will be a new normal, right? It won't be the industry as we know it for acting and modeling for kids or for adults. So what do we do now to prepare for what the new industry is going to look like? And this agenda up here is basically just kind of what did my thing go away? It did. Hold on, let me put that back up for you guys. The agenda is basically coming right from all of the wonderful, amazing free tips and things that I have gotten from casting directors and agencies that I've spoken to and heard from throughout the week. And for those of you who don't know, right now is an amazing time to be on social media. And the reason why I've added in YouTube live tonight is because a lot of folks, especially parent managers, are not on social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And so YouTube is an accessible way for you guys to reach out to people. But right now is an amazing time to be on social media because everyone is accessible. All the stuff that I'm going to share with you guys tonight are all things that I tapped into from all of these casting directors, agency owners, celebrities, different folks that have been online for free all week long, providing relief for everybody during this COVID-19 pandemic. And so if you're not on social media, you would have never known about that. So it's a great time to be on social media. I encourage you all to do your research and go out there and connect with other people. I'm going to give y'all some tips on how to do that in today's call. But yes, it is a great time to be on social media because so many people that were not at your fingertips are now accessible, and they're responding, they're talking to you, they're answering your questions, and it is so amazing, so dope. All right. So all right, let me put my agenda back up so that I can stay on topic. So again, we're talking about what now. We're going to use the guidance that I have gotten throughout the week, and we're going to kind of answer some of those questions. And not surprisingly, all the casting directors and agency owners pretty much were in unison with a lot of the same things, right? The same tips. My fan keeps blowing all my papers away. All right, let me get my notes in there. Let me get myself together. All right, so For background work, that's really, really quick. And again, can somebody give me a thumbs up? I'm assuming that you guys can see on Instagram my little cheat sheet of tips, just so that as you come in, you know what we're talking about tonight. And again, this is all feedback from the casting directors and such. So give me a thumbs up if you guys can actually see the agenda that I have up there on the screen. And I know that we are good to go. Okay, perfect. And if not, I can take it down. Awesome, awesome. So first up, background work, the short and sweet of what everybody had to say unanimously is something that I've actually always been saying, that we are not crazy about background work. Background work, extra work. I know that it seems enticing, especially if you're doing background work or extra work on the set of a major production. But hands down, casting directors and agency owners were like, yeah, do it once. No, thank you. Don't do it. And of course, you definitely don't put it on your resume. And one thing that I've always said around background and extra work is you really only need to do enough of it to get that experience and then be done with it. So yes, everybody has to start somewhere. So background work gives you that exposure of being on set, taking instructions, learning when there's 3 and 2 cameras and stuff on set and all of that. But once you've done it once or maybe twice, you have the experience and so move on for a few reasons. First and foremost, because you can't put it on your resume and all this time doing this background extra work, and no casting director or agency owner wants to see that on your resume. They don't care about it, they don't prefer it, they don't want to see it. So why continue to do so much background work and fill up your schedule with it, even if it's union background work and you're getting paid, right? Because again, you can get forced into the union. You can get forced into the union by doing too much union background work, and then you're definitely cutting yourself short. So just stay away from background work. Do it once, maybe twice, get the experience, and then move on. Been there, done that. You got the experience. There's no need to fill up your whole schedule and try to be busy, right? So that's what the consensus was about background work. And I'm going to pause for a second. For those of you who are not familiar with how to use Instagram, now on YouTube Live, you can type into the comment section and I'll see your questions. For Instagram, if you have questions, and it can be about something that I'm currently talking about, a question that's on the agenda that's posted, or another question that you want to ask in general, if you look on your screen, there's a little box that has a question mark in it. All you have to do is touch that question mark. You can type your question right in there. And when I start to answer questions, I'll be able to put your question on the screen so everybody can see it, and then I'll answer it. So again, if you have questions about anything, tonight's conversation or general topics, you can push the question mark down there at the bottom of your screen, type your question in there. It'll stay in queue, and then I'll be answering your questions as we go. All right. Second thing, the general consensus around demos, sizzle reels, actor reels, etc., which was actually pretty interesting, and it actually makes sense. So for those of you who are experienced and have a lot of stuff under your belt, a few agency owners actually recommended that you just do clips. So instead of putting together this conglomerate of like 3 or 4 minutes, which is way too long, but putting together like 3 minutes of all of your acting footage and things and making one long clip, and then the casting director or the agency owner having to go and sift through your long video clip and find the good, yummy stuff, they recommend doing clips. So, for example, let's say you have 2 dramatic film pieces, right? Whether it's student film, short film, whatever. And then you have one episodic clip that you've done. And then maybe you have a really good recording of some theater piece that you've done. If you're submitting to somebody for a theater project, they don't want to see all the film clips and the TV clips and then wait till the very end to get to the theater clips. They want to get straight to the point. So the suggestion from the creatives, the consensus of everybody was do clips, right? They would much rather see small 30-second clips. And so label them. You know, you have your film dramatic, you have your TV comedic, you have your theater or your stand-up comedy, your live performance. Separate them out into individual clips, make them shorter, and then casting directors can get straight to the point. Because keep in mind, you guys, when casting directors are casting for projects, they have tons of things that come across their desk, right? Tons of audition clips and things that they're looking at. They don't have time, nor are they going to watch your whole 2-minute, 3-minute video. If they're not sucked in by the first few seconds of what they see, give it maybe 10, 15 seconds, they're not going to finish watching the rest. So that's actually a very, very good piece of advice that they shared. is to switch from trying to do a long reel to doing clips. And I know some of you have invested in reels already, and that's fine. But if you know how to do editing on your own, you want to go ahead and try to maybe slice those up and do 30-second clips so you can get straight to the point. Specifically for your Actors Access account or some of your other casting platforms, I know they charge for each individual clip. So you may not financially be in a position right now to upload every single clip. So then pick your strongest clip if you're going to go that route and put that up so that casting directors can at least see something and you have that ready to go. But that was a great piece of advice, to stop putting together and paying a lot of money too for these long 3-minute reels that they're never going to watch, and just give them a get straight to the point clip of your best work and show them what you can do. And even for those of you who are not experienced, if you have a self-taped audition or a self-taped monologue and you're using that to submit to show people what you can do, they actually have the same advice to make sure that you're getting straight to the point of your skills, getting straight to the point of your talent. They don't need a 90-minute monologue recording to see if you have talent, right? Find a monologue that's going to get straight to the point from the very beginning, is meaty to show your emotion and your skills and your talent, so that again, when they click on it, they can get right to the point, see if they want to finish watching more, and they have what they need right there. Um, Under demo reels and sizzle reels and all of that stuff as well, there was a recommendation to leave out commercials. And so we've talked about this on the resume side a lot, that you don't put commercial credits on your resume because they're typically a conflict of interest if you're submitting for other commercials and such. And when you think in terms of casting directors or agencies that are looking to rep you for film, TV, theater, other genres, more legit work, commercials mean nothing to them as well. So they really don't need to see commercial clips on your reels as well. So the recommendation was to keep your commercial clips out, unless commercials is all you do. And again, if you're on casting platforms and you're uploading your own footage, still keep it very simple and basic. My commercial reel, I think, is 1 minute long, and it's maybe 10-15 seconds of each commercial. And then I move on to the next one. I don't show the whole 30-second commercial, then put 3 and 4 of them back to back. They just need to see how I look on camera, how I'm comfortable in front of the camera, how I speak, how I interact with somebody else if there was a castmate, right? Keep commercials out of it unless commercials are your thing and that's all you do, and still keep it simple. The biggest thing that they had to say about demo reels, sizzle reels, whatever, is to keep in mind that if you feel like it's not necessary, your competition might, and they are doing things with professional quality. And so one of the things that I've been talking about a lot with my clients and even y'all on social media is about self-taped auditions and making sure that your self-taped auditions are up to par, making sure that you know about good lighting, good audio, a nice solid background, a tripod to hold things steady, right? Hey, you guys, come on in, come on in, come on in. Those of you who have just joined on Instagram, if you have a question and you want to ask it, click the question mark at the bottom of your screen, type in your question, and then I'll pause periodically and I'll pull your questions up on the screen so everybody can see them as I answer them. Those of you who are on YouTube Live, you can type your question into the chat box and I will see it and answer your questions as well. So again, your competitors, meaning other actors and models that are going to auditions, they are investing in professional quality. And it doesn't mean that you have to pay a studio to do it. It doesn't mean that you have to hire me to do it. You still need to know how to do something professional quality at home. And that is done with some of those things that I've been teaching y'all about: having your tripod, your lighting, your devices, knowing how to edit. And we are going to get to part 3 of the self-taped auditions and the technology piece of it soon. That will be coming out via to the email list once I finish putting that whole class together. So for those of you who missed part 1 and part 2 of self-taped auditions, part 3 is coming, and it will have a recap of part 1 and part 2. And again, that was all things self-taped auditions, recording from home, setting up your studio, any and everything that you need to know around making recording at home amazing and professional, so that again, like the casting director said, you can be competitive, because there are folks that have the budget to go to the studio every time. And believe it or not, depending on the market that people live in, there are studios who are open, well, not right now, obviously, but in the past, they've been open every day, all day. And you can walk in and do a self-taped audition with all of their professional equipment for like 25 bucks. So you're competing with folks who have that in their neighborhood, in their backyard, that can go on in person every single time to a studio and record their demo reels or their self-taped auditions. You need to know how to do that at home so you can stay competitive with them. So again, that's whether it's your demo reel, a self-taped audition, you need to be competitive and know how to do that professionally. And while we're on that topic of kind of your marketing materials, um, what they had to say about resumes was format, format, format. Oh my goodness. I feel like every single casting director and agency owner that I watched talked about resumes, and several of them put up samples of what a good resume looks like. And this is something that I'm talking to you guys about often as well. What should not be on your resume? If you're pursuing acting, you don't need a runway on your resume. You don't need dancing on your resume. You don't put commercials on your resume. You don't need all of this other stuff that's not acting related. Now, you can have some things in your training credits to show that you have those special skills, but if it's an acting resume, it should be an acting resume. And you can tell that a pet peeve of most of these casting directors and agencies was these horrible resumes, right? Especially for, well, really equally for agency owners and for the casting directors, because they're going to look at your information, whether it's something you're emailing to them, whether it's something that's on your casting platform like Actors Access, etc. Um, they're going to look at your headshot and your resume, right? So if they're already turned off by the lack of professionalism on your resume or the lack of professional formatting, they're going to be like, okay, well, maybe this person is green, maybe this person is new, maybe they're not trained and no one ever told them. I'm telling you guys all the time about your resumes. I even have an ebook that gives you a template and tells you what to put on there, what not to put on there, how to fluff your resume, how to make it look good if you're new to the industry, right? No excuse to be submitting to these auditions or these agencies with horrible resumes. They talked about resumes all day long and how the formats need to be professional. It needs to be clear and organized. So, if anybody is in need of a resume template, you can always send me a private message or email. You can send a DM on Instagram, or you can email me at talentedyoungfolks@gmail.com. And I'll make sure that y'all get what you need to make sure that your resume is popping. Okay. All right. So next we have training, 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 training. And so well, not all I'm going to say. Obviously, this is one of my areas of expertise in terms of the services that I offer. But again, every single person, so as folks were typing in questions, a lot of the questions were, what do you recommend we do now to stay fresh while offices are closed? What do you recommend we do to prepare for when things get back to normal? What do you suggest that we be doing right now while we're out of work? There were people asking those questions so many different ways, right? The same answer across the board is stay trained up, stay sharp, stay prepared, right? And so here's the thing. I think that when things get back to normal or when the new normal sets in, I feel like now those who are untrained might be frowned upon even a little bit more than they were before. Because if all these casting directors and all these agency owners are saying, the best thing that you can do right now is train in your craft, train in a new skill, train in self-taping, practicing at home. If they're all across the board saying train, 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 and then things open back up, and then you have the audacity to submit for an audition and you don't have any training credits on your resume, right? You are showing that you're not trained when you're auditioning in your skill set, and you're competing against folks who took this downtime and went to the masses and trained. There are so many free classes out there right now. We just finished 2 weeks of free acting classes for both age groups. Other studios are doing free acting classes. People are offering discounted acting classes. We have so much stuff going on in this next week that's starting as discounted. You are doing yourself a disservice if you actually attempt to go back when the industry is ready and not be trained. So for all of you who are brand new, the one thing that I have to stress to you is you need to get your kids into an acting class now. Even if it's an intro acting class, if it's just a one-time acting class, if they have never been trained by any sort of professional, you need to get them into something, because that is going to be the, I guess, one of the kind of defining moments of what did you do with your downtime, right? If all these other kids are popping and ready to go and your kid still doesn't know what a slate means, that's a problem. And that's going to reflect if they are getting auditions that they don't know some of the basic terminology. Um, some of the biggest things that they said about why they think training is very important is because it shows that you can be directable. So, you may have a talented kid, or if you're an adult actor, you may be talented and skilled, but if you're not coachable or directable, that's going to show at an audition. That's going to show on set. That's going to show when you go in for an agency meeting, right? They basically really want you to be trained with somebody else first so that you are coachable and directable. You don't want to get to an audition and not know how to profile left, profile right, move here, move there, and follow basic instructions. That's not their job to teach you that. As a casting director or on set, that's not their job. And they don't want to have to teach you that at an audition or teach you that on set. That is a job of acting coaches, and it's your job to make sure that you're prepared and trained. So they want to make sure that you are directable. They definitely have all said that they want to make sure that you understand terminology and the language. If you don't understand what some of these things are, that's a dead giveaway that you haven't been trained and you don't know what you're doing, right? And that you're professional and aware of industry normals. And one thing that I can say specifically for talented young folks is we don't just train your kid on the acting skills and then leave it there. We talk all day, every day about industry practices, best practices, what should be done, what shouldn't be done, how to say no, how to do this. We talk up and down about industry standards with everything that goes on with talented young folks, whether I'm training your kids or whether I'm talking to you as the parent manager. So they want you to know what the industry standards are, right? Pretty simple. And then they also talked about something which is near and dear to my heart. I just posted it on the page the other day, that training credits are your credentials until you start booking work, right? Casting directors will still, consider you valid and consider you for auditions when you have training credits. Training credits are your foot in the door until you start booking work. Those are your credentials that show, as one casting director said, that you have stretched that artistic muscle. Her exact words: when she looks at a resume and she sees training credits, even if she doesn't see anything else, she said, it shows me that you have stretched that artistic muscle and it shows me that you're ready. And so I'm going to give you a chance because I see those training credits on your resume. So I'm going to get off my high horse about training. Y'all need to get into a class now. There's a whole bunch of good stuff posted on the website, in the bio on Instagram. Go, 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 sign up for stuff and get your training on, right? All right, what's next? Self-taped auditions. So I talked about this a little bit when I mentioned demos and being competitive and such. But basically just saying that, right now, especially because offices are closed and everybody's working from home, even though things are slow, some stuff is still moving. There are still self-taped auditions out there. And the beauty of self-taped auditions is that more people are getting seen now than were ever been seen before in person. So if you have been frustrated that you've been submitting for auditions and haven't been called in, or if you are frustrated that you've been going to auditions and haven't been getting feedback, or getting holds and callbacks, right now more people than ever are being considered because they're home. They have more time to review online submissions than they do opening the office up for 2 hours only and seeing who they can see within 2 hours. So casting directors are being a little more patient. They're clicking through and scrolling through a little bit more of those self-taped auditions because they don't have anything but time on their hands. So again, they urged you to make sure that you know how to do your self-taped auditions the right way, keeping in mind again that some people get them done professionally. So if you want to be competitive with those who are doing them professionally, you need to know how to at least do a good quality self-taped audition at home. And if you feel like you haven't gotten that big shot yet or that chance, now might be your season. Self-taped auditions are the new normal, right? And they even talked about how in the future, as we get back to offices opening up, that self-taped auditions might continue to be the normal. And that's going to be a personal preference from casting office to casting office. Some still love that in-person vibe and getting, down to the nitty-gritty and asking you to do it over and over again. But there are going to be some, and especially as a lot of these older casting directors, y'all, think about it this way. There are so many casting directors that are so old school and they never ever considered self-taped auditions. They've always been old school. They want everybody to come into the office. All of those old timers are being forced to learn about technology, which makes it so amazing right now, right? because they still have to audition. They still have client needs that they have to fulfill. So more and more casting offices are being forced to accept self-taped auditions and learn how to navigate through this industry with self-taped auditions. So that means more opportunities for you as things start to pick back up and as technology continues to be our normal way of communication during this pandemic. So please do yourself a favor and step up your self-taped audition game. Again, we've talked about it a lot. Part 3 will be coming, where I'll be doing some hands-on stuff with you all and making sure that you have exactly what you need. But self-taped auditions was like the number one topic across the board out of everything that I watched this week. So please make sure that you have your self-taped auditions ready to go. Stay competitive and get your foot in the door, whereas maybe before that wasn't an opportunity. All right. So I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to look at some of these questions. Let me see. I think I know somebody said I answered their question already. All right, so let me see. All right, if you have, oh, it's a long one. If you have a youth who is an actor model, would you separate their resume or is it okay to have print? Okay, so yep, I did answer that one. And basically with that, a model resume doesn't necessarily exist. There are agencies from time to time who may request a model resume. So it's good to keep a running tab of modeling work, just so that you have it and you can produce it if someone asks you. But keep in mind, for the most part, when it comes to performing, resumes are about acting. And even with that, you may want to have a separate theatrical resume versus your film and TV. So if you're heavy into theater, singing, and dancing, like Broadway type stuff, you can have a theatrical resume. And on there, it would be appropriate to have your dancer training, your dancing gigs, your singing gigs, and your theater gigs, because those three go hand in hand as a triple threat, right? Before your standard acting resume, it's your film credits, your TV credits, your theater credits, your voiceover credits, hosting credits, all of those things that give to acting and speaking in front of the camera. Dancing, modeling, runway, beauty, none of that stuff has a place on an actor resume, no matter what your age is. So yeah, definitely want to keep them separate. All right, let me see. And then, of course, as a reminder, again, you would not put commercial credits on your resume. You put the title commercials, and then under that, you put available upon request. And that will let them know that you have book commercials, and that if they want to see the list of commercials, keep that typed up separately and have that ready to send to them, but don't put commercial credits on your resume. All right, next question. Oh, I need to click it again. You guys have got some long questions here. All right. How do you put your training credits on a resume? Do you put the place or the website you received the training? Okay. So I will, if we have time at the end, I'll see if I can go through and find a quick screenshot of some sample resumes that I usually keep in my phone. But basically, you would keep it formatted. And again, email me, send me a private message, and I'll send you back a response. You're welcome, Sean. But for resumes, for the most part, it's similar to a professional resume. You want to have your name up top or your stage name. You want to have your union status if you have a union status. But if you're non-union, you don't have to put anything on there. Definitely need to have contact information. Do not put your full address on a resume. And that's a tip for any kind of resume, professional, creative, whatever, because people print resumes out and lose them and drop them. And now somebody has all of your personal information, right? So that's just a safety tip. Don't put your full address on a resume. And for a creative resume, you actually don't need your address at all, right? So contact information, you want to have your stats on there. And then basically resumes are formatted into 3 columns, right? And I'm moving ahead because I want you guys to just send me a message and I'll send you the template. But there'll be 3 columns where you'll put the title of the project, the role that you played, and the production company, etc. And so for training credits, that 3 columns would be the type of training that it was. So if it was for voiceovers, the title will be voiceovers. In the middle, you can put who the acting coach was or who trained you. And then the 3rd column, you can put the studio. And so there's some wiggle room to kind of play around with how you do that, but it would still stay separated into those 3 columns, nice and organized. And the template that I have is a Word document that already has the whole format ready to go for you. So you can actually just take it and copy over what I have typed in, and it's already nice and formatted into the 3 columns, heading and everything. So if you need a resume template or resume details, send me a message and I'll send you guys the information on the resume ebook that I have always ready to go for you guys. Where am I based? So Talented Young Folks has been around for almost 8 years. Yay, June will be 8 years. For the first 7 years, I was between New York and DC, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. This past December, I just relocated to Texas. So for the time being, I am in Texas and I no longer have my office space in Maryland, and I do everything virtual. So I'm an online acting career coach and I am basically everywhere because I am virtual. So I live in Texas though, but I'm virtually because I do everything online. I reach out to everybody online. What is a slate? Good question. And I want to remind you guys that no question is a silly question except for the question not asked, right? And before I answer that question, I do want to put this out there because I know that there's a wide variety of experience in my audience here. For those of you who are brand spanking new to the industry, and what I mean by that is either you don't have agency representation, you haven't taken any training. If you are new in any way, and you feel like you need some guidance, that is what we are here for. So y'all can always send me questions via the private message on Instagram. My business cell phone number is always available. It's published on the website, on Instagram, on everything. I check my cell phone all day long. Y'all can send me a quick question. I do free consultations for new clients. So if you've never worked with me before, you can actually schedule a free phone consultation and I'll call you and answer some of your questions one-on-one. So if y'all are new to the industry and you have urgent questions, or you need some guidance because somebody has approached you or something and you just need to know what's happening, don't be afraid to ask those questions. You don't learn the industry norms and the industry standards if you never ask. So anybody who is interested in just chatting with me more, those are some awesome ways to stay connected with me through the new client consultations or private messages on Instagram. I'm on Instagram all day long and y'all can reach me there. And there will be some courses coming out in the future with the business of acting that kind of gives you a crash course as a newbie to the industry on all the things that you need to know. All right, so back to your question, what is a slate? A slate is just your introduction. So a slate can vary depending on what the audition is for, but at the very basic, a slate will usually be your child's name, their age, their agency if they're represented. Sometimes they'll ask you to say their location, so where they're based. And then if it's say for like a food commercial or something, they may have you say if you have any allergies. So if I was going to do a basic slate, I'm an adult, so I wouldn't say my age, but as a child, 18 and under, you always say your age. So I would say, hi, my name is BJ Gianni. I'm 6 years old. I am repped by Bella and I'm based in Florida. And so your slate is just an introduction before an audition, or if you're in person, that's what a slate means. Okay. All right. All right, so I'll answer this real quick and then I'll get back to the topics at hand. So the coaching comes in different ways. And so everything is virtual, right? Sorry, my family is texting me about dinner tonight. Everything's virtual. So whether you are doing coaching for your child, like actor training, etc., or you're doing parent career coaching, it's all virtual. But I do offer both. There are things on the website. You can go and click the links. There's career coaching for parents, which is basically where we just chat and I give you all the information that you need, answer any questions you have, and steer you in the right direction. And then there's virtual coaching for your child, whether it's private coaching or group acting lessons. So I do both, but everything is virtual, Mama. Nothing is in person right now, obviously because of the pandemic. But aside from that, nothing is in person because I'm based in Texas and I don't currently have an office space here. All right. So let me move that. All right. And so for those of you who have just came in, hey, you guys, if you have any questions, all you need to do is click the question mark at the bottom of the screen and type your question in there. And periodically I will pause and I will answer your questions live on the screen. So again, if you have a question, you're welcome. You are welcome. Click the questions in the bottom. And again, for those of you who are new to Talented Young Folks, you can click the link in the Instagram bio and sign up for a free new client consultation and get to talk to me one-on-one if you don't want to ask your questions here. All right, so where are we? Union. So that came up a lot. Union, basically, do you join the union or do you not join the union? And answers were varied, but they're still somewhat consistent or related. One agency owner said to wait as long as possible. So basically, don't join the union until you become a must join. So even if you book some amazing work, you're eligible up until you become a must join and you book that next union gig and have to pay to work on set. That's when you join. Another one put it like this, and her example was actually really good. She said, think of it like this: if joining the union is going to stop all of your money, stop all of your opportunities because you can no longer do non-union work, if it's going to stop your livelihood or your child's livelihood for the career that they're working in, then that should answer your question. And maybe joining the union is not best right now. So, union is a personal preference and it's a lengthy topic that a lot of folks want to know about. I do have plans in the future to kind of go into detail a little bit more about the union. But one thing that you always want to do is just educate yourself. And the best way to do that is to go to sagaftra.com, the Actors Union for Film and TV, and learn for yourself. They have a great kids corner for parents where they answer frequently asked questions and learn about the union for yourself. But that was a common question that came up from a lot of folks because they had the professionals there, and it sounds like they kind of agree with what I always say is that you can have an amazing career as a non-union actor. So unless you have to go union, why do it, right? So, all right, we'll move on from unions. And let's see, auditions like generals. And so what that means is a lot of the casting directors are basically saying to treat your auditions like generals. And what a general is basically where casting directors are just accepting general audition tapes or general self tapes, right? If you're working your ability, they don't necessarily have a specific project that they're considering you for, but they may open up their doors occasionally and just let general submissions come in, right? And so that's what a general is. And so basically what the advice was is that you should be treating every single audition like a general. So even though you're going into an audition and your child is submitting for a specific role, you want to make such an impression as if it was a general kind of open call audition that you're memorable to them, right? And so those are some of the reasons why training comes in handy. So your kids are comfortable with strangers and safely comfortable with strangers in terms of the auditioning aspect. And knowing how to go into the audition room and greet them first and say, hi, how are y'all doing? Or hi, and thank you. And how to answer questions in between, like yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, or however you teach them to be polite and be courteous. And the concept or the thinking behind that is even if your child auditions for a specific role and they don't book that, they can still make such an impression that they might get directly submitted for the next audition because that casting director memorized them. One of the casting directors specifically said that it is the job of every casting director to remember you. It is the job of every casting director to remember you at the audition. And what she means by that is if you do a good audition, if you make a great impression, if you show amazing skills and talent, even if you're not right for that particular role that you're auditioning for, it is their job to remember how awesome you were. And so the next time a job comes across their table that you do fit the part for, they will seek you out. They will remember you and they will contact you or contact your agent and get you back in there. But that only happens if you're making an impression. So the concept of treating auditions like a general just basically means that every audition is an opportunity to audition for the next audition, right? So every audition should be wowing them with your personality. Every audition should be wowing them with your professional quality if it's a self-tape audition, right? Every audition should be treated like a general audition and force them to remember you because that really is the job of a casting director, right? It benefits them when they have the perfect fit in their bag when somebody comes to them and say, hey, I'm looking for a character that fits this X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh my gosh, I remember that kid that I auditioned for that one role, but they didn't get it. They would be perfect for this. Go look them up. Audition like it's generals. And so I'm going to give you guys a nice little yummy. Speaking of generals, if you have not been doing your research and on social media and learning about some of these casting directors that are posting all day, every day, Liz Lewis Casting Partners actually does general meetups every day, which is what I was talking about. Those general auditions where you can basically just be seen by the casting directors to make a good impression, be remembered by them, and possibly be called in for auditions in the future. Now, I did not click their link, so I don't know if they're charging like a nominal fee for it, but I do know that Liz Lewis Casting is doing general meetups every day. Okay. And I think I actually may have a screenshot really quick. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully y'all can see that this is one of the things that's up on their Instagram page. And so with that, again, if you're not trained in all genres, that's fine, because they're telling you that you need to have a commercial copy, a monologue, or a song to prepare for them at your appointment. Okay. So you don't have to have a film or monologue ready. All you need to do is have some sort of prepared piece, a song, a commercial copy, which is really simple, right? If you guys need help with commercial copy and you want a little bit of coaching on that, you can reach out to me. If you just say, hey, you know what, I went ahead and signed up for this Liz Lewis General Meetup and I don't have any commercial scripts. My kid is 6 years old. Can you send me something cool for a boy? You know, if I'm in my downtime, I totally don't have a problem shooting you guys a quick commercial copy of that, right? But take advantage of this opportunity, okay? Liz Lewis Casting is doing general meetups every single day. Mommy's talking right now. Okay, you're going to have to wait. Close my door, please. Uncle's pulling up now. He might be getting pizza. Sorry, you guys. My kids, they always make their debut somehow. But again, so speaking of generals, that's what a general audition would be for a casting director. So take advantage of that opportunity with Liz Lewis. All right. And just a reminder again, guys, if you have questions, hit the question mark at the bottom and I will answer those. All right, so where are we now? Agency representation. Another number one, probably top 3 questions, right? The question basically was, is this a good time to submit to agencies? And so I get it that everybody's feeling like, okay, well, everybody's in the house, everybody's in their home office. It's probably a good time to submit because they're not as busy. Here's the general response from everybody in the industry that I have watched, casting directors, agency owners alike. It's really not a good time to submit to agencies, even though you may feel like they're so accessible right now, they're home, their schedule is low impact. This pandemic I would treat like the end of the year. And so any of you who have been with me for a long time, every December I remind y'all that it's a slow season and it's not the best time to submit because agencies are basically getting ready to purge their list, clean house, look and see who's been booking, and then they usually start the beginning of the year accepting new faces and new talent, right? So they don't want a whole bunch of new submissions because they're just going to get lost in the muck because they're cleaning house. So they don't want more papers piled on their desk, right? This pandemic season really should be treated the same way, not because they're purging, not because they're getting rid of their rosters, but because it's a crazy time for everybody. And casting directors and agency owners are humans just like you and me. And we've all needed a season and a period to adjust, right? So if you needed time to adjust to homeschooling your child, which you've never done before, or if you needed to adjust to working at home when you are accustomed to commuting to your office every day, agency owners and the assistants that work for them that they, unfortunately had to lay off and different things like that, they're adjusting too. So do you think it's the best time to try to slide your submission in the door? Do you really think they're going to see it? Do you think that personally they're not also dealing with the challenges that you're dealing with, if they have children, a family, etc.? And one professional basically, which I never actually considered, we've done a lot of talking about the arts industry in a whole being impacted, right? It first started when New York City shut down Broadway, and then auditions slowed down, and singers and performers of all kinds, concerts and NBA stuff, everything that was canceled, all of that stuff impacted artists, dancers, singers, live performances, film, TV, everything slowed down naturally because we had to stop being in person and contacting and stuff, right? That also impacts the agencies. All of those contracts and those commissions that the agencies were going to get paid off of that booked work for all those creatives who were supposed to be working, everybody's contract got canceled. The performers lost their contract, so they're not getting paid. The agency's contract got canceled, so they're not getting the commission. They're all scrambling right now to make sense of all of this. So it is not a good time to submit to agencies. What they do recommend is that you network, which brings me to my next point or my last point. right? So, keeping that in mind, that it's not a good time to submit to agencies right now, it is a good time to try to network with folks on social media. You can go to pretty much any of your agencies or any of your casting directors that you are used to following or that you see on a regular basis auditioning. And most of them are going online daily and giving live posts and answering questions, or they are connecting with other people. Like Liz Lewis is doing meetups. Um, who is at EB Casting, goes live every day at 2 p.m. and just answers questions. There were a few other folks that have been going live every single day, talent managers. They're at home, and so they're finding ways to reconnect with you. So instead of thinking about submitting to agencies right now, think about how you can build a relationship with casting directors and agencies right now. Don't be annoying and don't be a nuisance, going on their Instagram lives and asking the same question over and over 15 times, but let them see your face. Let them see your profile. Just like you guys are live with me. When I comment on something, if you like it and you gave a thumbs up, right? If you asked me a question and I answered it and you responded and said, thank you so much for answering my question. If I said something silly, like when one of my kids usually comes in and I mush him in the face, which is almost always likely to happen when I'm on live, and you put a little emoji in there and you laughed at what I did, most of us who are tech savvy and know how to navigate on social media, we can see that. I can see you guys saying thank you to me as I answer your questions. I can see you guys saying 100 and thumbs up. I can see that because I'm used to networking in this way, right? And I guarantee you, if I continue to see Naturally Lit pop up, right, every day that I go live, every time that I go live, you have really good questions. You're not asking selfish questions like, hey, can you look at my profile? Hey, do you like my look? Don't be selfish, right? Ask general questions that you really feel are important that you need to know. Network with these people on social media while they are there, you guys. It is crazy, 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 crazy how many casting directors and agency owners are going live every single day. Every single day. It is the time to network with them. That is how you're going to get your foot in the door. If you're looking for your big break, that is how you maximize this season and figure out what your next step is going to be. Get familiar with them. Let them get familiar with you, right? Find them on social media. And the biggest piece of advice that I have for everybody to figure out who you should be networking with on these social media platforms, if you're new to the industry and you have no clue who's who, you don't know a casting director from an elephant, right? I'm always telling y'all, go on Actors Access. Actorsaccess.com. If somebody can type that in, actorsaccess.com, and I'm not getting paid for this. This is something that I just believe in my heart that everybody needs to do if you want to get educated. Actorsaccess.com lets you create a free profile. Okay. A free profile with 2 photos, a resume, a 7-second video slate to just say, hi, my name is such and such. And now you can hear me talking. You want to know what I sound like. And not just that, you get that free profile created, but then you get to go and look at the breakdowns. You get to go and look at all the auditions. Now, even though there's not going to be a lot of new auditions up there right now, you can still go and see all of the old stuff, right? From multiple markets. You can go look at LA, New York, the Mid-Atlantic, Atlanta. You can go on actorsaccess.com. Thank you, Michaela and Sherry, and learn who the casting directors are, learn who the directors are, learn who the producers are. This is the time for you to be networking with them. So again, if you don't know a casting director from an elephant, the best way for you to learn who you should be networking with is go to actorsaccess.com, create a free profile so that you can just look up the different breakdowns. Look at, and what you'll see on the various breakdowns, you will see the name of the project, what type of project it is, who the casting director is, who the casting associate is. Sometimes the casting director themselves may not still be approachable, but the casting associate might have a social media profile, and they might be the person that they've, charged with being live on social media every day to keep their name out there. Look up the director, maybe network with the director. But the one thing that they did caution, and I'll give that caution too, there's a fine line between networking and being a nuisance, okay? And y'all know I keep it real. There's a fine line between networking and being a nuisance. So especially if you're going to go the route of networking with directors, producers, some of the higher ups on the creative team, be very strategic about what you're saying and what you're doing. You know, you can go follow them. Obviously, if they post something that's relevant, you leave a general comment. If they're going live, but like I said again, don't ask them selfish questions. Ask them general questions. Don't say, "Hey, I'm new and I want to know how to work with you." Ask them questions, like ask them a serious question that you want to know. And just keep it very general, very light. Don't be a pain in the butt. But I'm telling you guys, it is not to be underestimated networking with casting directors right now. Networking, networking, networking. They are on social media every single day. And if y'all don't know how to navigate through some social media, y'all better figure it out, okay? All right, so that's all I'm going to say about how to network. ActorsAccess.com will teach you so much about the industry. And in addition to finding out who to network with, it is also going to just teach you about the industry, how much stuff pays on average, what some of the terminology and all sorts of things, right? So ActorsAccess.com is really going to be your best friend. All right, I see some of you all are just joining in. Yes, I am going to keep this up for the replay because I think this is really vital information that everybody needs to know. And again, all of this that I've been talking about tonight, this is a recap. This is my weekly recap of everything that I've been watching. So I have been pulling my hair out, y'all. All week long, I have been watching folks on Instagram Live, on YouTube Live, on their different websites, on Q&A platforms. You name it, I was out there looking up different stuff, recording things, taking notes for you guys, for me too, but for you guys, because a lot of this knowledge I already have. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, but I think it was very beneficial for me to, you know, sacrifice that time for y'all this week and get some of these yummy tips for you guys and to bring it to you guys in kind of like a compact form, because a lot of folks were going live at the same time. A lot of folks were, you know, having technical issues because there were so many people online and people were getting impatient and just giving up and getting off the call. And some of you are still working from home with your full-time job. So I get it. So I plan on doing this every week. So for as long as they are giving out this amazing information online, I'm going to do my best to be diligent and take notes and watch as much as I can so that I can put it into a compressed platform for you guys and share this with you. Thank you. I'm glad that you thought that this was all helpful, and do my best to bring that to you. So I want to make sure that I've covered all the things. I'm going to skim through real quick. There were a few other things that I highlighted that are just good for y'all to know. We talked about self-tapes a lot. And the biggest thing, again, that everybody says is that you should be off book, especially now that self-taped auditions are our new normal. If they're sending you the script and you have a day or two, God forbid, you have a week to practice your self-tape script, honey, you need to be off book. Don't go holding a script on a self-taped audition at home because they're like, you ain't got nothing to do. You ain't got nothing to do. You ain't got nothing to do but memorize the script. Why are you not off book? Memorize the script, y'all. Do yourself a favor. Be professional and prepare for your self-taped auditions. Let me see. An agency in LA said that they really never expect for kids to have an acting reel. So that's a good thing to know. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have one if you have footage, but if you're brand spanking new, agencies don't necessarily expect you to have an acting reel. You may need to just have like a 30-second clip of your child speaking and showing their personality, etc. So that was a good tip. Let me see. Oh, for hair, the question about hair, which is a big thing, right? We'll have a whole class on that. Across the board, they said be consistent. Be consistent. You know, I know for us African Americans, it's always, well, do I wear my hair natural? Do I wear it straight? You know, do I wear my ethnic hair? It's easier for me to keep my daughter's hair in cornrows. Be consistent. I still will always say some of our more ethnic hairstyles are a no-no. They don't want to see that. So cornrows, braids, etc., things like that, you want to stay away from if you can. But be consistent across the board. If you submitted a picture with your hair natural, they're probably going to want you to show up to the audition or self-tape with your hair natural. If you submit a picture of your hair straight, they're going to be expecting you for the most part to show up like that. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about hair, because we can go all night long talking about that. And the one thing that I wanted to say about homeschooling, I do want to bring on some of my fabulous homeschool mamas and let them share on the screen and kind of talk to y'all for a second about some of their expertise, because they've been doing this for years. But what I'm thinking about from a homeschool perspective, locks are fine. There's really nothing that you can do about locks because locks is a permanent hairstyle. But always with locks, we want to keep them clean and maintained. We want to be keeping them nice and twisted and fresh. I would say for kids who have locks and choose to kind of do the more thicker, messy ones, which is totally fine. I love all ethnicities. I love all of our hair, right? Just keep in mind that the average person making the decisions is not us. And if you can read between the lines, you should know what that means. The average person making the decisions is not us, so they don't understand our hair. So the neater that you can keep your hair, the better. And for everybody across the board, boys and girls, if you have length to your hair and your child is having a bad hair day, slick it up into a bun on top of their head and save yourself the drama, okay? Don't try and do a twist out if you've never done a twist out and get all fancy with it for the girls. Worst case scenario, pull it up into a bun, make it nice and manageable, and keep it simple, okay? Don't go crazy with trying to figure out new hairstyles. Keep it clean and simple. Let me see, what else? I think I covered everything that I highlighted here. One other thing, and this is something that we're going to talk about in part 3 of the self-taped auditions, the technology class that I'm working on for you guys. So in part 3, we're going to talk about how you make sure that you have a direct link to your footage. Another piece of advice from different folks was that you need to have a direct link to video clips. So if you don't have a website, that's totally fine. You're not expected to have a website. But if you're applying for an agency or if you're submitting to a casting director and they ask you to put in a website link or a link or anything like that, Jerry Curls, is that a real question? Seriously? Tell me if that's a real question and I'll answer it. Exactly. Thank you. You know she up here playing. Y'all get off here playing. But for, you almost made me lose my train of thought. Okay, for video links, the biggest pet peeve, and I've said this before too, so I really hope y'all been listening. One of the biggest pet peeves of a casting director and agency owner, even me, right, is to not follow instructions. So if they ask you to send a link to a video clip and you send them an attachment with a long, large file, right? If they ask you to send them a link with no password and you send them your private YouTube link with the password, or, you know, your Vimeo link with the password, or your whatever with the password, y'all need to follow instructions. That is one of the biggest pet peeves of professionals in the industry alike. Follow instructions. If you don't know how to take a simple video and make it a certain format, upload it to one of your platforms, whether it be Dropbox, Vimeo, YouTube, whatever you use, iCloud, and make a simple link that is private but doesn't require a password, so that if somebody asks, hey, do you have any clips of your child, and you don't have a website to send to them, you need to know how to do that. That was one of the things that everybody really said, was that you need to have something ready to go. So the biggest thing about how you can be prepared for when this industry gets back on its feet and being prepared, you need to learn how to do a good recording at home. You need to train to get a good performance of that recording. And then you need to have it on a link ready to go. Ready to go, because guaranteed when the doors open back up, everybody's going to be hungry. Everybody's going to be ready. If you thought that this was a thirsty industry before, if you thought that this was a I'm stepping on everybody's neck to get in the door before, you ain't seen nothing like when these doors open back up, because artists are starving. That term has never been more true. They're starving. There are so many not making any money right now, not working at all, right? Even their side gigs, they're not even able to do their side gigs. So creatives as a whole are starving and thirsty. You are doing yourself a disservice if you have the audacity. I'm gonna put that on a big, that's gonna be my little clip on social media. You are doing yourself a disservice if you have the audacity to not be prepared when this industry gets back on its feet, okay? You are doing yourself a disservice. Everybody's going to be stepping on everybody's necks, ready to go. Oh, I got a 2-minute countdown because it's almost supposed to be an hour long. You're doing yourself a disservice, folks. You get the point. Be prepared. If you have any questions, if you need to reach out to me, do not hesitate to send me a direct message on Instagram. You can send me a text message. My business cell phone number is always posted on everything. It's on my website, talentedyoungfolks.com. It is everywhere. Y'all can send me a text message, okay? And reach out to me. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. If you are new, you can again go on the website or the social media platforms and click on new client consultations. You get free phone calls with me, guys. You can chat with me one-on-one and ask your personal questions. So get your questions ready if you did not want to ask them tonight, and do a new client consultation with me for free. And I don't think I really introduced myself, and since I only have 1 minute left, I'm not going to go into detail, but here we go. Hi, you guys. My name is Coach BJ Gianni. I am the founder of Talented Young Folks. We are a full service entity that caters to young actors and parent managers alike. We are here to make sure that you know that behind every successful young folk, there is an industry educated parent manager. And so, if you want to be an industry educated parent manager, you need to talk to me. I come with over 20 years of experience. I've worked in every genre in the industry except for anything involving singing. I don't sing, guys. I don't sing, right? But I am your girl, Coach BJ. Reach out to me, talentedyoungfolks.com, or right here every day, all day on social media, Instagram. Thank you guys for tuning in on YouTube Live. I'm going to try to do more of this, right? I'm going to keep this post up so y'all can go back and watch it from the beginning. Share with other people. Tell them to go and watch it. And I'm going to give another recap next Friday of all the yummy stuff that I have found in this week coming. Bye, you guys. Bye, 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 bye.